Hello friend, very good afternoon. Welcome back to this channel. And if you haven't subscribed this channel, then please go and subscribe to watch my further video. Today we'll learn definition of database, why we need a database in our daily life, table in a database, relational database, entities, what is attribute, RDMS, and the difference between DBMS and RDMS. RDBMS. And this is most important for your examination view also. And I have made again video. If you haven't watched my video, then please go and watch my previous video. I have discussed on my previous video about what is DBMS, here is my previous video, components of DBMS and database schema, database architecture, definition of data DBMS, characteristic, advantage, disadvantage, and user of DBMS. And here is also playlist for you all. This is the playlist of DBMS, radioactive, and flowchart. If you haven't watched this all video, then please go and watch to get a full information about flowchart, radioactivity, and DBMS. Now let's start about what definition of DBMS. Now, what is database? Database is nothing but a collection of data or information that is organized in such a way that it can be easily accessed, managed, and updated, or we can tell in simple way that it is a collection of multiple tables. What is database? It is the collection of multiple tables in a single container. Means we have to collect a multiple table in a single container. That is database. Now let's come here. Database is an organized collection of data, typically stored in an electronic format, and it allows you to input, manage, organize, and retrieve data quickly. What I have told in first, that only here is described. Traditional database are organized by row, record, that is row, field, that is column. Field is known as column, and row is known as record, which is stored in table, which are stored in a database. Understood? And it is also used, and it is a file used to store information. Database is a file which is used to store information. Now let's talk about why we need a database in our daily life. Right? We know data is all around us. Right? Everywhere there were data. For example, we might have all our contact and their phone number on our phone, right? For example, we are taking our mobile only. In our mobile, there were contact and phone number, and our mail are stored in our email apps, right? Where our email is, right? Where our email are stored in our email apps. Our photographs are there on Instagram, Facebook, and we use our own YouTube also. We get the picture if we think we have a problem managing our data, right? Think of some large company like Google, Facebook, or any large corporation or bank. Imagine where they are storing all their user data, mails, messages, photo, videos, right? We use building vendor information etc, and we as their customer want our data ASAP. All of these company have database, right? All these company have what? Database. Without database, any company cannot work because they have to collect every data in a database. Understood about what is database? Now let's talk about database table. What is database table? Database table is a set of row and column. We know that table is a set of row and column which is used to arrange data on a specific topic or entities. I'll discuss about entity and attributes after completing DBMS database. Right? Each row in table corresponding to a single record and has a varieties of properties that describe the row. Understood? And database table is the mostly common and simplest form of data storage in a relational database. In simple, it is a collection of related data. Which data? Collection of related data in an organized manner in the form of row and column. How the data is managed? Data in table is managed. In table there were column and row. Right? Here is a simple example of a table containing the data about different people. That is Sean and Ghosh. That is their name, email, created at, updated at. At each type of information is presented in a vertical position. Right? This is in vertical position, which is known as column. This is column. I have it shown here. This is column, or we can also tell field. And the data of each people is known as row or record. Name, email, created at, updated at. These are column, and sound at the rate spbd.gov. These are our row. Understood? Or we can also tell record. And simply also we can understand that these are the record of name of Sawan goes. Right? Each record holds the total data for a specific people. In this way, we can make as many tables as possible with different combination of different data. Understood about database table? Okay. And we have a type of database which is known as relational database. Now let's talk about relational database. Relational database. So relational database contains multiple tables which are related to each other in a specific manner. Then that database is known as relational database. Now let's talk here. Our relational database is a collection of tables of data, all the which are formally described. What I have told, that is only here. In simple way, I have told that. And it is a collection of data, all of which are formally described and are organized according to the relational model. Right? Each table must identify a column or group of columns, call that primary key, to uniquely identify each row. Why it is known as primary key? To uniquely identify each row. Now let's talk about entities. What is entities and attributes? This will be important in ER model. When we'll make an ER model, in that condition we need to understand what is entities and what is attributes. Now let's talk about entities. Entities means object comprised of various pieces of data, or we can tell an entity is a thing or object in the real world that is different from all other objects. For example, each people in an organization is an entity, right? Again, an entity has a set of properties and values for some set of properties that may uniquely identify an entity. Now let's talk about attributes. In short, I'll tell what is different in entities and attributes. Now let's first talk about the attribute. Attributes means the pieces of information, that is data, that describe an entity. That is attributes. In simply also we can tell an entity is represented by set of attributes that and attributes are descriptive properties which is processed by each members of an entity set. And for each attribute, there is a set of permitted value that is called domain. For example, we'll take a student, entities. A student is entities. Then a student have some properties, right? If we are a student, we also have some properties, like a student have their ID. A student have their ID. A student have their name, address. These are the attributes. Understood about entities and attributes? Now then again, I'm repeating this thing. We are a student. What we are? We are a student. So a student is the man that is entities. And what are the properties of a student? What we have? That are the attributes. For example, what we have? We have a student ID, a student name, their address. These are the attributes. Understood? Now let's talk about RDBMS. RDBMS means Relational Database Management Software, or we can tell a Relational Database Management System, right? It is a form of software that enable the definition, storing, searching, and updating of data in a relation database. And it is also a DBMS software. What is relational database? Relational database is also DBMS software, which is based upon the relational model. Where it is based? It is based on a relational model. Now anyone can ask why we use RDBMS in our daily life. Why? Because RDBMS is used to manage relational database. What it is used to manage? It is used to manage relational database. Here are the few examples. Let's talk about a few examples. There are the few examples of RDBMS includes Microsoft Access. We know that what are the Microsoft Access? MySQL, Oracle, MySQL, IBM DB2, Amazon Sample DB, that is cloud based, and etc. Now let's talk about what is the difference between DBMS and RDBMS. The main difference between DBMS and RDBMS are DBMS must provide certain uniform technique. What DBMS provide? It provides certain uniform techniques for assessing information content in table that are independent of the application. Now, RDBMS adds the requirement that the system support a tabular table structure with defined relation between the tables. In terms of data management, DBMS impose no limitation or security, whereas RDBMS employs an internal security structure, right? And RDBMS is the basics for a structural query language. What is SQL? SQL is a structural query language. This will be, if anyone haven't understood, and again I have made a difference between separately for those students who were memorizing. Here is the main difference between DBMS and RDBMS. If it will be asked in your exam, then you can write that also and this also, as you want. Anyone you can write. Now let's talk about here one DBMS and RDBMS. DBMS means it stands for Database Management System. RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System, or we can tell Relational Database Management Software. Understood? In DBMS, data are stored as a file, but in RDBMS, data are stored in a tabular form. What are different in this? DBMS is stored in a file and RDBMS is stored in a tabular form. Understood? DBMS does not support client-server architecture, but RDBMS support client-server architecture. And I have discussed about the DBMS architecture. And if you haven't seen, then please go and see that DBMS architecture. DBMS allow one user at a time. What DBMS allows? It allows one user at a time. But RDBMS allows more than one user at a time. DBMS allows only one user, but RDBMS allows more than one user. More than one user means 2, 3, 4, and to infinite, right? Normalization is not available in DBMS, but normalization is available in RDBMS. It does not support SCID properties, but RDBMS support SCID properties. Data redundancy problem exists in DBMS, but data redundancy problem does not exist in RDBMS. Low software and hardware needed in DBMS, but higher hardware and software needed in a RDBMS. This is the most frequently asked in examination of class 12 and 11, 12, first year for CSE. So go and memorize this. If you haven't understood, then please comment me what you haven't understood. Now database model. We'll talk in another video about database model. What are the model of database, right? We'll talk this in another video. Today we'll end here only. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then please go and subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.